Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. So finally back from the beach, and it was amazing, as you would expect the beach to be. But we have to get on the 7mm-08 hunting loads. We got to get on these guys hot and heavy for my buddy Richard. Don't know if you can hear the thunder in the background, but we got a pop-up thunderstorm rolling through. And so I'm going to do this video, this little series a little bit differently than just go, get the brass, load everything up, walk you through the process, kind of like I did on the 30-06, the elk load. We are going to follow basically the same principles of, hey, let's go pick out powder, bullets, some powders that we know are going to be good candidates for what we're trying to achieve. I've got a couple of powders in mind, either I'm going back and forth between H4350 or Ram Shot Big Game. I would like to use Ram Shot Big Game because that's what we used in 30-06. So it'd be the same powder that we've already loaded for his elk load. We could use that for his deer load in 7mm-08. Bullet selection is a little bit sketchy right now. I mean, I get online just about every day checking the websites and that type of stuff. But there's just not a lot of hunting bullets available in 7mm diameter. Right now, a lot of what you're going to find are the hollow point boat tails, some of your Match Kings, that type of stuff. You're going to see a lot of that Nosler custom competition, all that garbage, okay? Stuff that we don't care about because we're not going to use it, so we don't need it. But I do have some 7mm stuff available, and talking with Richard, he kind of wants to hang around that 140 grain weight, somewhere in that range, right? So I've got a couple spear selections that we're going to work on. I've got 130 grain boat tail, so 130 grain, your standard deer slaying bullet design, or 145 grain. So we're going to really focus on these two bullet weights. That's what we're going to dive into, and that's what we're going to sort of do our load development around, are those two bullets. Now, the process that we're going to follow to get to the end result that we want is something a little bit different. We are actually going to use some 308 Starline. This is once fired stuff. All 50 of these right here are once fired 308 cases, Starline. So that's another issue, is finding 7mm-08 brass. And you can find it. The only thing that's available is Lapua that I've come across. Either Lapua, or I think Midway has Nosler. I think it's Nosler brass. Stuff's like $75 for a box of 50. It's outrageous. And so what I thought would be really neat, because there isn't much difference between the 308 case and the 7mm-08, is let's go this route. This is applicable to a lot of people nowadays, I would imagine, is you might have some 308 brass laying around, but maybe you don't want to fork over the Lapua price for some 7mm-08 brass, but you need to load some up. Well, this would be a good way to kind of walk you through it. It's fairly straightforward and simple from what I understand. We'll just kind of work through it together, and it should be pretty easy. But first, what I'm doing, and then once we get these pieces, so basically what I'm going to do is go through, deprime all 50 pieces. We're just going to use a universal decapping die. Deprime all 50 pieces. From there, I'm going to run them through a Redding full-length sizing die for 308. So I'm going to size them down to 308, because these are fired, so you got to keep that in mind, is these have been fired in a 308 rifle. So that's even more work if you're going from a fired state down to a resized 7mm-08 case, right? So that'd be a lot more work on this case than probably what needs to be done. So my plan, or at least the logic in my mind, maybe I'm wrong, is go ahead and resize this using a full-length 308 die, then come right behind it and do a full length size with a 7mm-08 die. All right. And then of course we'll measure it and everything, and may have to trim if we need to, whatever we need to do there to get it to meet the specs. And then what I plan on doing is taking these and doing some fire forming with some of these random bullets I have over here. Like I've got some 130 Match Kings. I've got a few 139, not many, just maybe 10 or 15 of those. And then I've got some heavy, some 160 grain boat tail, some spear. So probably just a combination of those. Probably use may have enough between these two boxes, might have enough to just do a fire forming on all 50 pieces. That way we can shoot them through the rifle. It'll be a mild charge, something that we can just fire form the brass with, because we're gonna go size it down from 308 down to 7mm-08. Then we can fire form it. Then we can come back and really dive in to our load development using one of these two bullets. And really, to be honest with you, it's gonna be, what I need to do is sit down and count how many I have in each box, and whichever one I have the most, that's what I'm gonna start with. That's just how it's gonna go. I'm gonna start with that bullet. I think I have more 145s, but I could be wrong. So we'll go from there. What? Can I help you? The Mucinex, the generic Mucinex.
Is it in the thing?
Yeah. Yep. It's in the same kind of box as the Mucinex, but it's just a generic cold medicine. As my middle daughter, she's not feeling good today, so she so she came out here to to ask me which medicine she just woke up from a nap. She was like, "What medicine am I supposed to take?" Well, whatever the generic stuff your mother bought, I don't know. So where was I? So that's the plan. That's what we're gonna do. But I'm gonna show you the decapping die that I'm using. I actually picked up both of these guys. These are the Redding Universal decapping dies. They have a small and a large. Now the difference is the small goes for 22 cal up to 50 cal, but it's for cases that are 2.5 up to 2.5 inches. Okay, and then your large will go 7mm and larger up to 3 inches. Okay, so really it's just depending on the case that you're using. I went ahead and bought both. Now what's really weird is if you go on Midway, they sell these as like a 2-die set for almost 60 bucks, which is a bit ridiculous, because if you just wait, like right now, I think the small decapping die by itself is like $22. So if you just wait, that's how much this one is as well. So if you just wait for the other one to come in stock, you can buy both, which is what I did. I think I paid like 44 bucks, which really doesn't make any sense, because you can go buy the 2-die set, right, for almost 60. I'm like, that's, if you don't have to have it like right away, there's no point in wasting that money and getting that little 2-die set. You might as well just wait for the, both of them to come in stock separately and purchase them that way. So that kind of stuff burns me up when companies do that kind of crap. And you're like, seriously, I can just buy them individually and save a ton of money doing that. So that's what I did. But here's the die. And the instructions are extremely simple on this. All you do is raise your ram to the top of the stroke, screw the die down until it touches the shell holder, lightly touches the shell holder according to Redding, and then you just tighten everything down and you're good to go. That's all it is. So they also sell, so here we go. They also sell a decapping rod that you can replace, because this pin, this decapping pin, I believe, I think it's it might be a single piece unit. I have no idea. I didn't even take it apart to look at it. Don't really care, to be honest with you. But they sell a separate decapping rod. It must be because they sell an entire decapping assembly that's separate that you can replace here. And it has the undersized decapping pin, so you can deprime those cases, kind of like my Lapua brass, where it has that undersized flash hole. I think it's like that 60 thousandths or 59 thousandths, whatever, undersized flash hole. They sell a separate decapping assembly rod that you can replace there to do that. So if you're one of those weirdos like me that bought the undersized flash hole brass, then you're going to need something like that, or you're going to need to modify your decapping pin, which, if you'll remember, that's what I did over here on my Lee. Where is it? Right here, this guy, that guy. I could just ground it down to the diameter I needed. What's up?
Can I go run over to their house to talk to Ari real quick?
Yeah. Avoid the lightning.
Okay.
That was the little helper. She want to go see if her friends can play. Sure, why not? It's only a pop-up thunderstorm, why not? So she's gonna run over there and see what they got going on. But so yeah, so that's the plan. I was sitting there thinking about it. You know, I was talking to my brother about it too while we were on vacation. I was like, man, it's such a pain that, you know, I'd really like to use something like Starline brass, you know, Peterson brass, something along those lines. I feel like Starline, in my opinion, is the best value that you're going to get in terms of brass. You know, a step above Starline is Peterson. Then, of course, a step above that, you're talking, you know, Lapua, Alpha Munitions. You can throw those guys in there as well, those type of places. It's just frustrating when there's still basically zero availability for the most part on anything 7mm-08. So we're just going to roll what we got. If we do change the bullet, it will be, we'll probably switch to a Barnes tip TSX, and that is simply because that's about the only thing I can find out there right now. Aside from the match bullets, about the only hunting bullet that I'm consistently finding are the Barnes tip TSX. So, but if we can utilize what we already have on hand, this is going to be just an absolute deer slaying round, in my opinion. If we can utilize, you know, the components we have on hand, it'll make this process go a lot faster. That way we're not waiting on things to come in and all of that. So, but that's where we're going to leave it. It's really, this video is just more of a overview of, hey, we're getting started. Yeah, I'm going to be putting these videos together. You know, you'll probably see them come one right after another because I'm going to try to get these cases deprimed. I'll make a separate video of doing the 308 full-length resize, then we'll measure it, then we'll do the 7mm-08 resize. So, you know, I want to do that as a single video. Then, of course, load up the rounds, get to the range. There's a lot we have to do in a short amount of time. Try to get ready for the deer season, which is quickly approaching. So, but that's where we're going to leave it. Just running through these, getting them deprimed here. Super simple. And then from there, I'll go through, I'll clean up the brass, primer pockets and everything, get them ready to run through the full-length resizing dies. So that's it. That's the update. This is basically the kickoff of the deer load series for my buddy Richard for his 7mm-08. So y'all stay tuned. Should be a good time. Should be a lot of fun on this one. Looking forward to it. I've never reloaded for this cartridge before, so why not try to neck down some brass and see what kind of results we can get. So I'm looking forward to it, and make sure you guys go check out Matt and his crew over at Mr. Big Guns in Huntsville. They're just getting in new stuff. You know, it seems like every other week they're bringing in new powder, new bullet selection, reloading equipment, firearm accessories. If you want to build an AR, man, they've got everything under the sun, like anything you would need over there. They're getting in factory ammo, starting to get in more and more of that. Optics, Athlon, they've got those really nice, I think it's Helos Gen 2 with the 34mm main tube. Man, those things are sweet. Yeah, just all kind of good stuff going on over there. So y'all make sure you go check them out. Make sure you tell them, hey, heard about you guys from some loser that does YouTube videos. But yeah, just run by there, see what they have. Things are starting to turn around a little bit, more so in the powder world. Primers, you're kind of seeing them online more and more. I'm seeing those kind of pop up more and more. So eventually we'll turn the corner, and prices are going to be elevated, obviously, but we are going to turn the corner at some point on that. So you guys stick around and stay tuned. Hopefully have a lot of videos around this 7mm-08 little series that we got going on, and we'll catch you guys next time. Y'all have a good one.